Hey, it's your friend Choice Teacher here, and I'm coming to you guys today with my Week 5 match of the PMC D-League. We are the coach of the Baltimore Oriolus, and we're going up against our buddy Orso, coach of the Windsor Weaviles this week. And this match, I'll just say right off the bat, was really fun, really intense. I was kind of on edge the entire time, and I hope that you guys do enjoy this battle. Unfortunately, as you can probably see, I don't have any special layouts or anything too fancy. I just didn't have the time for it this week, unfortunately, just being busy with work and the holiday and everything. We have some family coming into town, so I'm not going to have enough time to do all of the nice post-editing that I've been doing for the past couple of weeks, so hope you guys understand, and hope that this is okay with you guys. But enough about that. Let's talk more about this match, and let's look at the teams that we have this week. So if you didn't see my team builder, please go check it out. But in case you did miss it, we have a rain team featuring Life Orb Heliolisk, Rain Dance, Rest, Scald, Tailglow Manaphy, Defensive Whimsicott, Defensive Skarmory, Swift Swim, Life Orb Seismitoad, and a Damp Rock Jirachi with Heart Stamp, U-Turn, Healing Wish, and Rain Dance. And he has brought Clefable, Victini, Manectric, Melodic, Absol, and Donphan. So the nice thing is, once we weaken the Melodic down, and if we can get rid of the Absol, the Seismitoad is going to be in a really good position to take on his team, because we have super effective moves for everything else. Heliolisk can really do well if we can, again, eliminate the Mega Absol, because it has got, pretty much, Thunderbolt is not unresisted on his team. Like, obviously he has Donphan, which resisted Manectric with Lightning Rod, but we can go for moves like Surf on those Mons in the rain, and it'll do a lot of damage. And everything else is just going to really be about setting up those two Pokemon. We have a little bit of other offensive pressure on our team with Manaphy and stuff like that, but really we're going to be relying on Seismitoad and Heliolisk. So without further ado, let's hop on into this battle and see how we can do. So I am going to lead off with my Heliolisk here. When we fought the last time, he led off with his Victini, so I thought that would be a good lead in case he chose to do that. He does just lead with a Donphan. Now, I could Surf here on a predicted Stealth Rock, but I'm just not willing to take that risk at this point. And I wish that was a mentality that I kept in mind more in this match. No spoilers. But he does just go for a Stealth Rock as I go into Whimsicott. Now here I am anticipating the switch into Victini, because he's probably anticipating a Giga Drain from me. So I'm just going to go ahead and go for U-Turn. And I don't really have a switch in for this Victini, but I think I mentioned this in my team builder. I was not expecting him to have Thunder on his Victini. He hasn't brought it in any of the games that I've seen from him. More likely he has Energy Ball. So if he goes for Energy Ball, I do have the Rindo Berry for that. So I'm not all that worried. So he is just going to withdraw. I guess he's worrying, he's fearing me being faster than him, and he doesn't want to take a Scald. So I am just going to go ahead and set up a Rain Dance, because as I said, I knew I could live any hit. I really wanted to start to put on the pressure with this Rain up. Now he's got the Manectric, there's this Manaphy out in front of him. I'm going to go ahead and swap out into my Seismitoad, but as I was saying, I wish I had kept that safety from the first play in my mind on this turn, as he goes for an HP Grass and takes out my Seismitoad in one hit. I should have scouted for that, because HP Grass made a lot of sense on this Manectric. Also note that it didn't take any Life Orb damage from that hit. Sorry guys, my throat's really dry. But anyway, he takes out my Seismitoad, and I basically lose my Wincon on like turn 4. So that's pretty bad. So I go into Whimsicott because I know that an HP Grass isn't going to do anything to me, and a Thunderbolt shouldn't do a whole lot. So he goes into his Clefable, and I'm just going to go ahead and Volt Switch on out of here. This is a decent chance to go into my Skarmory. I know that he still has Pokemon like Victini that can do a lot of damage to me, but I do want to try and get up my rocks, because that's going to hinder his team. And he goes for Trick. So this Clefable, believe it or not, is actually Trick Scarf, which is pretty wild. I'm not that upset about this, because my Skarmory really wasn't doing much to his team. It really only takes on Donphan. Otherwise it gets bodied by just about every other member of his team. Like this Clefable, I guess, kind of gets walled by it. But yeah, the Skarmory's really only purpose at this point is to get up rocks, so that's something I'm fine with. So I go into Jirachi, because I know he can very easily take this thing on, and he's going to make a good switch out, and he is going to bring in his Manectric. So this Manectric, without that Seismitoad to potentially take a Thunderbolt, it's going to be looking really scary. And he does just go for Flamethrower on my Jirachi. I am very specially defensive, so I know I can take a hit. Based on that damage, this thing is specs. This thing is 100% choice specs, and I'm like, oh crap. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. So I don't want to take another one, even though the rain is up. I want to keep this Jirachi alive so I can set up another Rain Dance later. And since I do know that it's specs, I knew that this is a pretty safe switch into Manaphy. I am fully HP invested with 100 EVs in special defense. So that Flamethrower, as you can see, does very little. And he has no choice but to swap out. Excuse me. And he's going to bring in his Absol. Now, I'm not sure why Absol was the switch in here. I guess, you know, if I went for like a Tail Glow, he can threaten me with something like Sucker Punch, but I know that it's a little early, so I'm just happy to click Scald. And in the rain, that does 90%, and we luck out and get that burn. So that Absol is going to go down without even being able to click a move. And while I'm still not feeling good about our position in the match after losing Seismitoad, our most important Pokemon, I feel a little bit better because our Heliolisk can now be in a position to click Surf and Thunderbolt and win the game. Potentially. We just got to whittle down stuff like Melodic and stuff like that. So this Manectric comes back in. Obvious T-Bolt coming out. So I go into my Whimsicott to try and take this. And he goes for it, and it does a tremendous amount of damage. As you can see, it does probably like 40%, which is crazy. So I calc it, and I know that the only way he can kill me is with an absolute max roll. And so I do live on 5 HP, and I go for a Giga Drain. I kind of wish I had just gone for Moonblast to get the maximum amount of damage off on this thing. But the Giga Drain was nice because after the leftovers, we get up to not a lot of HP, but enough HP where we can switch in on rocks and potentially land a Memento on something later in the game. So now I am going to swap out, and I'm going to go into Heliolisk. Not because I want to take a hit, but it's the only thing that like really resists it. And luckily, Heliolisk's special defense is not complete trash. But, you know, it's bad enough that, as you can see, it still does like 40%. We do heal up with the Dry Skin, which is nice. And I just want to click Surf here, as he sends in his Donphan, and that is a dead Donphan. So it is going to go down, and believe it or not, we're actually up 5-4 at the moment. So I'm still pretty pumped for this. And we have a bunch of turns of rain left, so depending upon what he does, we can we can't Volt Switch out on Manectric, obviously, but we can Volt Switch out on just about anything else. He does bring in the Clefable. We saw that it was Choice Scarf earlier. That Volt Switch does a nice bit of damage, by the way. Anyway, we do go into Jirachi because it can really easily take this thing on. And my Rain is about to expire, and I want to get another chance to set that back up. So that way, Pokemon like Manaphy and Heliolisk can do a little bit more damage. Gets a special attack drop, but I'm not worried about that. I don't have any special attacking moves. So my play here is just to go for Rain Dance again. In case he has Flamethrower, we can actually live it. If we do go for the Rain Dance, and we can get another 8 turns of rain here. It's nice too because it makes Whimsicott, I don't know, not no Whimsicott a good check, but it weakens his fire type attacks, which is going to be helpful for deterring the Victini and things like that. But we take that Flamethrower, 1 turn of rain is gone, and we are going to switch into Manaphy because this thing does not care about anything that Clefable can do. He's shown now Flamethrower, Moonblast, and Trick. So there's no way that he's like Calm Mind or anything scary like that. He probably has some sort of recovery move in his last slot. But I think we just fire off a Scald here, which we do. And he will retaliate with a Moonblast. The nice thing is that we can go ahead and rest up. The burn is obviously meaningless. Okay, so he's going to bring us down to about 55 HP here. Gets a special attack drop, which is kind of a bummer. But I can just go for a rest here and get back up to full HP, and that'll be looking pretty nice. This Manaphy I really liked this set this week. So we will get our full HP back, and at the end of the turn, we will be able to wake up. Now the Clefable goes for a Wish here, and this is probably the most important play of the match. I'm thinking here, oh, well, if this Manaphy wants to try and recover up, you know, this is no problem for me. He's already shown these magic guards, so let me just go ahead and Tail Glow, and I can take on this Clefable, no problem. But then he goes into the one counter to my entire team, gets it 100% healthy with a very, very big wish, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, wow, that I don't know how I just let that happen. I don't know how I had such a big brain fart, thinking that the Clefable wouldn't pass out into something else. So I'm like, crap, I gotta come up with another plan. So I do sack my Skarmory because, as I mentioned before, it really doesn't do anything against his team. He already got up the Stealth Rock, and he has no way of removing it, so that's fine. So now with the Rain up, I can go for Surf, and it is going to do a good bit of damage to this Manectric. I think actually with the Rain up, it should kill, or come very close. So I'm just going to go for the Surf as he switches in his Clefable. Now you can see that does a pretty good amount of damage, but after the Leftovers recovery, I'm just not convinced that another move is going to kill. Both Thunderbolt and Surf are going to do similar amounts of damage in this Rain. So rather than take the risk and have my Heliolisk go down, I just go ahead and Volt Switch. You know, after losing Seismitoad, this Heliolisk is way too important to take a risk like that. And the Manaphy is going to come in because, as I mentioned before, Clefable just cannot do a whole lot to it, but it's just going to go ahead and Wish. So this time, the thing is that, especially without the Rain, there's just nothing that I can do if he wants to Wish Past into Manectric again. So I just, you know, I go for the Scald, because I'm just really, I don't know. The play earlier with the Tail Glow on the Wish Pass into Manectric just really kind of screwed me up. And so I kind of get into a position here where I'm starting making some questionable decisions. And this Manectric comes in, and I'm like, wow, I don't know what I can do. It's at completely full HP. I don't have a move that can OHKO it. If I was packing Hyper Voice on the Heliolisk, I could actually take it out. But I don't. I only have Focus Blast, so I think my only chance to take this Manectric out is to kill it with a Focus Blast crit. So I go into it, I click it, and we're going to see if we can get the damage that we need. It hits, and as you can see, it brings it into the red, but it's not going to be enough. It just clicks the Thunderbolt. All we have is a Jirachi that's in the red, and a Manaphy that's going to take that super effective Thunderbolt very poorly. So we go into our Manaphy. He's going to click Thunderbolt, and I think you guys can see at this point we are going to be losing this match 4-0 to Mr. Evil Orso. There's some moves I probably could have made at the end of this game to try and crawl back into it. Instead of sacking the Whimsicott, we could have potentially sacked the Jirachi and then gone for gone into I guess the Manaphy. Sorry guys, I had to edit that real quick because it skipped past the battle screen. But as I was saying, the Whimsicott could have gotten off a Memento on the Manectric, and then the Manaphy could have lived the Thunderbolt, I think. Just because I was a bulky spread, like it would have done probably still like 70 or 80% to me, but I could have lived it, gotten off a Scald, and then I don't know that the Scald would have killed, but then we could have come in with Heliolisk, clicked Surf, and been able to kill it. And we had the ability to Healing Wish with our Jirachi, so we could have Healing Wished the Heliolisk back up to full HP, and then it kind of would have taken on his team. But anyway, you know, it's tough to say those sorts of things as there's a lot of hypotheticals. Really, the game came down to three things. One, Manectric with choice specs was freaking awesome. That was such a good mon to bring. Hats off to you, Orso. That was just perfect against my team. Even though I had a couple Pokemon that resisted it, I just could not take it on whatsoever. Two, you know, he made the right plays, particularly with the Manectric Hidden Power Grass prediction on the Seismitoad. It was probably a little reckless to bring in Seismitoad like that, but, you know, it's certainly, I don't think it's unfair to think that he would just attack what's in front of him with the Manaphy. And if I had been able to get an Assassin Toad there, it would have gotten a couple of kills. So it was a poor play on my part, but I think it was a better play on his part to make the prediction, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then finally, him wish passing into the Manectric as I went for the Tail Glow instead of the Scald, I think was the nail in the coffin. It was a good play by Orso, but I think contrary to the last play, I think that was just a really big blunder on my part. I had no reason to go for the Tail Glow, really. The Clefable wasn't going to be able to kill me, and I knew that the Manectric was a threat, so why it completely slipped my mind that he could wish pass into it, I don't know. But, you know, I don't want to take anything away from Orso. I think, Orso, you should be really proud of the way you played. You really showcased how versatile your team is, and this match just showed you know, your ability to make really good decisions and anticipate your opponent's moves and things like that. And for that, I just want to say hats off to you. In terms of where this puts us for the rest of the season, we're now 3-2, which, you know, still is a decent record. It doesn't sound nearly as good as 4-1, but what are you gonna do? Orso is 2-3. I don't know the result of the match for Roshan. I don't know if he ended up winning and also advanced to 2-3, or if he lost and now sunk to 1-4. But it is no longer a guarantee that we're going to be making the playoffs. It is true that we have a division winner and a wild card here, so I just need to finish ahead of either Orso or Roshan in order to make the playoffs. But we play Roshan this upcoming week, and so if he won today and he beats us next week, we'll both be 3-3, and depending upon differential, he's going to potentially be ahead of us. And then Orso, with another victory, can also tie us. I'm not sure who his opponent is next week, but that's something that we're definitely have to keep an eye out for. So we really got to step up our game. Roshan nearly beat us last time. We kind of got lucky to score a victory there in that match. So let's just, we're going to pull out all the stops and try to beat him, you know, with the team that we've got. I'm bummed about the result this week, but I still think that I built a really good team, a team that would have beaten Orso if I hadn't sort of mishandled it in a couple of scenarios. So while I'm sad about the loss, I'm trying really hard not to take too big a hit in confidence. I know that we have the skills to succeed, and I know that we have the skills to take on Roshan next week. And hopefully we can win that, and if we win that, we basically clinch a playoff spot. And we have a really difficult match in the final week against Adam, so I'd really rather not have to have the season come down to whether we can take on Adam or not. That's just going to be so much pressure, and he's got a really good team, and he's got one of the best records in the league. So, you know, I feel like he and I are very evenly matched. So, anyway, thanks for dealing with my little rambling, guys. Not so much rambling, but, you know, I'm just kind of talking on and on here. And do want to encourage you guys to check back to my channel for other Pokemon content. We do have the UBC starting up this upcoming week as well. So you're going to see another PMC D-League match as well as the UBC match, which takes place on Pokemon Showdown. So with all that said, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys later.